He's infamous as one of the most brutal serial killers in American history. But Ted Bundy also led a life that seemed surprisingly normal to those who knew him best. Today, we're exploring the romantic relationships Bundy maintained while hiding his darkest secret. From long-term love affairs to unexpected twists, this is the side of Bundy you didn't know existed. Ted Bundy's name is synonymous with horror and murder, but there was another side to him, one that only a few women experienced firsthand. While Bundy was committing heinous crimes, he was also building long-term romantic relationships that seemed completely normal on the surface. How did these women fall in love with someone hiding such an unimaginable secret? Today, we'll take a closer look at Bundy's most significant relationships and how he managed to keep his terrifying double life hidden from those closest to him. Elizabeth Klupfer, also known as Liz Kendall, was one of Bundy's longest and most meaningful relationships. They met in 1969 when Elizabeth was a single mother living in Seattle. Ted was charming, intelligent, and immediately made an impression on her. The two began dating, and Ted became a father figure to Elizabeth's young daughter, making their relationship seem even more normal. Elizabeth was deeply in love with Ted, and for a long time she saw him as the man who could offer her a better life. They attended social gatherings, took vacations, and appeared to be a perfectly ordinary couple. Ted was attentive and affectionate, even helping Elizabeth quit drinking. On the surface, it looked like the picture-perfect relationship, but behind the scenes, things were far darker. Despite their loving relationship, Elizabeth always felt something was a little off about Ted. He would disappear for long periods, often without explanation, and his stories about where he had been never seemed to add up.
He'd just drop out of my life for 3 days or whatever, and then he'd pop back in, and it was like nothing ever happened.
Elizabeth struggled with her suspicions, torn between her love for him and the unease that something was terribly wrong. When news of the disappearances of women began to surface in Washington, Elizabeth's suspicions grew. One of the most chilling moments for her came when she noticed items in their home that didn't belong to her, women's clothing and accessories that she hadn't purchased. These were among the first concrete signs that Ted was leading a double life. Eventually, Elizabeth's fears became too strong to ignore. She went to the police and provided details about Ted.
What did that feel like?
Oh my God, like the bottom of my world was falling out. It's like that's just too much of a coincidence. So I did call King County Police.
Including his connection to the places where women had disappeared. But despite her suspicions, she continued to maintain contact with him, trapped in a cycle of doubt and love. Bundy, for his part, remained affectionate, writing letters and calling her even after his arrest, manipulating her emotions and keeping her tied to him. This relationship shows how Bundy was able to deceive even the people closest to him. Elizabeth believed in his innocence, despite the growing mountain of evidence. In the end, the emotional toll it took on Elizabeth was devastating. She later wrote a memoir about her time with Bundy, expressing both her love and her horror at what he had done.
The fact that we lived is a huge, so many people didn't live. And so when we're struggling to get our life back on track.
Carol Ann Boone's relationship with Ted Bundy was one of the most shocking aspects of his life. She had known Bundy from their time working together years earlier, and even as the evidence against him grew during his trials, Carol remained convinced of his innocence. Carol's loyalty to Bundy was unwavering, and her role in his life took a dramatic turn as he faced trial for the Chi Omega murders in Florida. Carol often appeared in court, sitting by Bundy's side, providing moral support during one of the most publicized trials of the time. Bundy's ability to charm and manipulate was on full display during this period. He flirted with Carol in court and used his legal knowledge to try to turn the courtroom into his stage. The most extraordinary event in their relationship came when Bundy proposed to Carol during the trial. Using a little-known Florida law, Bundy declared his proposal in front of the judge, and Carol accepted, making their marriage legal on the spot.
Will you marry me?
Yes.
And I do hereby marry you. Thank you.
This moment shocked everyone watching, as Bundy was on trial for the brutal murder of 2 sorority women and the abduction and murder of a young girl, Kimberly Leach. Bundy and Carol's marriage was one of the most unusual and chilling elements of his story. Carol remained convinced of his innocence, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
That he did not commit the murders in Washington State, that he did not abduct Carol DaRonch, that he did not murder...
Even more shockingly, Carol gave birth to Bundy's child while he was on death row, although the exact circumstances of how this happened remain unclear. It's believed that Bundy managed to bribe guards to allow the couple conjugal visits in prison. Carol's deep loyalty to Bundy is baffling to many. Her willingness to stand by him, even as the world came to know the extent of his crimes, is a testament to Bundy's manipulative power. But over time, even Carol's faith in Bundy began to crack. After he made several last-minute confessions about his crimes, just before his execution, Carol reportedly cut off all contact with him, leaving the final chapter of their relationship shrouded in mystery. Before Bundy's descent into full-blown violence, he had a brief but important relationship with a woman named Diane Edwards, referred to as Stephanie Brooks in some accounts. They met while Ted was in college, and Diane was everything Ted aspired to be: wealthy, socially connected, and ambitious. Their relationship ended when Diane felt that Ted wasn't living up to her expectations.
I think after the year and a half of our relationship, is that he kowtowed to me, pitifully weak.
Heartbroken, Bundy spent years trying to improve himself to win her back. In a twisted turn of fate, Bundy rekindled their romance after he began his killing spree. Diane had no idea what Bundy had become, and when he ultimately rejected her, it was his way of getting revenge for how she had hurt him years earlier. This manipulation of Diane marked one of the first times Bundy displayed the calculated cruelty that would define his later crimes. Ted Bundy's ability to lead such a convincing double life has fascinated psychologists and criminologists for decades. His relationships with these women seemed normal. He was charming, affectionate, and even fatherly. Yet behind the scenes, he was one of the most dangerous men in America. What's perhaps most chilling is the way Bundy manipulated the women in his life. His charm allowed him to mask his true intentions, convincing them that he was a loving partner while committing atrocities behind their backs. Bundy's case continues to raise questions about how well we can ever truly know someone and how easily evil can hide in plain sight. Ted Bundy's relationships reveal a darker truth about his nature. He wasn't just a killer, he was a master manipulator, capable of deceiving even those closest to him. His romantic entanglements allowed him to live out a life that appeared normal while hiding his monstrous side. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into true crime. Let us know what you think about Bundy's ability to maintain these relationships while committing such horrific crimes. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.